games. I honestly think, realistically, personal opinion, so none of this is factual, I personally believe this game is maybe a 6.5, 7 out of 10.
My thumbnail is going to be 6.5 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's going to be the thumbnail for this video. All right, guys, so let's hop in. Let's check out some of these reviews, and let's see what everybody's saying about Diablo 4.
Do want to fully complain about is the fact that
you fully complain.
These people get into early, review the game early. They don't get to keep their characters. Blizzard gave them an actual full-on review build of the game. It's not the final build, so...
No. You don't get to bitch about this. Fuck them. They don't get to keep their characters. We didn't get to keep our characters in beta. The part that actually irritates me the most was they're saying that the launch, the day one patch is actually going to bring the game up pretty much to where like the final beta was. And that was one of the biggest points of contention I had was, well, maybe the day one patch might take the game a little bit further than what people had in the last beta, because I honestly thought we all should have been able to keep our characters in Server Slam, but they deleted all of our characters. And they could have just gave everybody their characters and let people start out at that level 20 mark, but they decided not to. So no, the reviewers and these big time content creators and all these people, they should not get to keep their level 100 characters the day the game goes live.
So when it launches, their progress is wiped. They have to start all over again.
Yeah, they do have to start all over again, but good news for them, they have like 5 miles ahead of all the rest of us on creating content. Most of these guys have like a backlog now of like weeks worth of YouTube content and like actual strategies they can use on Twitch to give them a leg up over everybody else in the space. So that right there was their gift, right? You get the game early, you get to make all this content. This is my gift to you, right? And then they lose their character. That's fair.
And that wouldn't be a problem in a game that has like a single player story, but this is a game where you can create multiple characters, and they actually kind of force like creating multiple characters on you because you have to do it for every new season that the game's going to release. So why not let the early access reviewers just keep their characters? Shouldn't it be up to them how they play the game, if they want to continue with that character or if they want to like create a brand new character to
no
start all over again when the game does launch for everyone else as well?
It only makes sense for them to lose the character. I agree. They shouldn't have kept the character. There's no reason for them to have kept the characters.
And like something else that's really, really weird with this, especially because I thought they would want to get all this stuff tested thoroughly before the game actually releases, as well as wiping characters and like reviewers having to start all over again, they didn't have a premium store in the game. For the review build of the game, they never had that premium store there. All they did was chucked in B-roll and some images that showed cosmetic sets, and these cosmetic sets are going to cost up to $28 each one.
Yeah, I saw that. That was one that I think was a huge point of contention for a lot of people, was how expensive some of these cosmetic sets were. Like, they're almost half the price of the game. Like, I'm not one that really cares about, like, how much cosmetics are. But, you know, and I'm all about supporting the game and making sure the game does very well. But, man, cosmetics are getting fucking expensive.
And there's also bundles coming to the game that contain cosmetics for weapons, your mount, and an apparel set inside a bundle for like $20. Your currency purchases, from what I've seen in Diablo 4, will go from $2 up to $100 per purchase.
So I'm gonna hop in here. You can't buy the mount early. You can buy cosmetics for the mount, but you still have to get to the same part in the storyline to be able to unlock it. Yeah. No, and that's the thing, like, so I want to be very careful about, like, this whole cosmetic debate, right? One, everything they're talking about is cosmetic, purely cosmetic. It's not about, like, paying to progress or paying to win in any way. It's all about cosmetics. Now, market dictates value, right? So if the cosmetics are too expensive and people aren't buying them, they'll lower the cost. But at the end of the day, if people are willing to pay for it, then Blizzard can charge whatever they want, and if you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. Like, you are not forced to ever buy any in-game cosmetics. If you have impulse control issues, and you see it, and you can't afford it, but you still buy it, that's a you problem. That's not a game problem. That is a 100% a you problem, and Blizzard's not responsible for that. Now, I know all these people are like, you're preying on and you're FOMO and blah, blah, blah. No, that's a you problem. That's not a game problem. Market dictates value. Blizzard's going to start at this. If it sells, then they're going to do it. If you don't like it, it sucks. Just move on. Do you know what I mean? Like it or hate it, it doesn't really matter. It's market. It's like if you don't like Creator X's post, then just scroll on. Exactly. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. It's not going to change how you play the game. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. You don't have to buy it. Like, I get that this is like a personal opinion from the dude, but you don't have to do it.
In like £20 bundles and stuff in the store, I think that's just taking the absolute, like, it's taking the piss out of your player base. It really, really is. So the fact that people have to start all over again with their characters, the review footage has been limited in how much you can share, even if it is spoiler free. They didn't have...
All right, so I just want to clarify this again. He says people had to start off with their characters. We all did. Beta and everybody. Reviewers are not people. Reviewers were reviewers. And they got content that they can make money off of for their time playing the game. That is a very different distinction that has to be made there. This isn't like you gave average Andy 100 hours to play the game, and then at the end of the 100 hours, he tried to log on, and he found out he was locked out of the game and his character was deleted. Like, and he had no warning. Like, those are two different sort of ways to look at this.
Of the store and the review build, it's all really worrying for this game, especially when people are saying that the difficulty is not hard at all. And there's also people like still complaining that the class balancing is way off, with some of the classes in the game feeling a lot worse than others, although those classes will apparently get stronger when you complete the game, so you've got to play with some absolute shitter of a character class until you get to the end game. And yes, I know some people will say that like Diablo 4 is only going to start when you get to the end game, but I feel as though with the nature of Diablo, I feel as though they should have made it a little bit better balanced throughout the main campaign anyway, because not everyone's going to go through to this end game.
And I feel like he's bringing up a fair point there, which is like most of your player base isn't hardcore grinders. Most of them are casual, and they need the game's experience to be good from start to finish. And if some of the early reviews are correct and some classes play worse than others and the game plays slower in the beginning and it's not quite as enjoyable in the beginning as it is in like the mid to late game, then that's a problem. And that's a problem that will need to be addressed, because there are a lot of people who will probably play the campaign. They'll play one character. They might play to level 60, 70, and that'll be the end of the preseason, right? And then the season will show up and they'll start a different character.
I really, really do hope this game is good, but something is fishy when people have complaints about class balancing, bugs, gameplay being too easy, and a lot of other stuff just like sprinkled into everyone's reviews. And like some of these things are actually quite important to the life of the game, yet they're all giving it a 9 out of 10. And that's something that happened with games like Cyberpunk. Oh, 10 out of 10, absolute masterpiece.
It's true though, and that's why I said before, like, I want to give my honest review of the game, because I feel like my community deserves that, right? Like when the game comes out and I get through it, I can give an honest review. But that's why I put more stock in smaller individual reviewers than I do large gaming companies, because they tend to lie. And that's why I kind of wanted to watch this, is because I didn't really know this reviewer, and I felt like I would get more of an honest sort of like viewpoint, even though he's giving like his viewpoint on reviews. As compared to even like some of the biggest YouTube reviewers, you still kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, unless you just really know and trust them, right?
But it doesn't work. So it's not that Diablo 4 is going to be badly broken, it's not that it's going to be a terrible game necessarily, but if there are bugs, there's class balancing issues, there's problems within your review and things like that, then why are you giving it a 9? Give the early access review like a 6 and then go back and do a full release review or something like that. I really don't like it when review scores get inflated by the fact that someone actually enjoys a game like within the history of the franchise.
I don't like when reviews don't say review in progress. So let me rephrase that. I don't like when reviews don't say review in progress and they just say it's a final review, but then they talk about future tense on things. So if they're like, the game has some issues and it has some problems, but it will get better, or we expect this, or we expect this, and they talk about all these expectations and everything, or they talk about problems that are there, but they feel like will get fixed, and then they go ahead and give a good review. How you doing, Lemon? Instead of saying, so like if you're going to do that, you need to call it a review in progress, because you're projecting things that will be fixed in the future.
Because I guarantee if this was the first Diablo game ever made, people are not giving it a 9 out of 10. 100% not. Because this is a big franchise, because it's made by Blizzard, because they've got early access to it, like there's a few different factors, but I believe these review scores are being bloated just a little bit, like just being if...
Right, I mean, like if you were to take this game and... But we talk about this all the time, you can't compare a vanilla game to like a live game, so you couldn't technically take this game and compare it to PoE, because PoE is a 10-year game and this is a vanilla launch. But reviewers ignore that a lot of times. So if this was like an IP and somebody was like, here's a new entry to the ARPG style, and it wasn't Diablo, people would definitely be talking about like itemization and a few things more, and I do think it would have affected the score more. I mean, how could it not?
Inflated that tiny bit, and I personally don't agree with that whatsoever. I really do hope that the review build isn't much different to the final build of the game. I've got no idea why they wouldn't put the premium store in the game at all.
The review build was pretty much the exact same as the final build.
That's normally the first thing to be implemented into any build of a game. And I don't know why they're making everyone start from scratch and limiting the review times and things like that. It's all confusing, and that's confusing to me after creating content for nearly a decade on this platform. And I've received hundreds and hundreds of review copies for video games. I honestly think, realistically, personal opinion, so none of this is factual, I personally believe this game is maybe a 6.5, 7 out of 10. I'm not saying the game is bad in any way, shape or form. I'm not saying the game's broken, I'm not telling you not to buy it. I'm just saying that I feel these review scores have been inflated.
That right there, your review will be like a 7.5 out of 10. My thumbnail is going to be 6.5 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's going to be the thumbnail for this video. Is Diablo 4 a 6.5 out of 10? I guarantee I'm going to get so much fucking click through on that. I don't think it's a 6.5 out of 10. I haven't played it. We need to watch some more reviews. But I do think that it got some bonus points for being Diablo in the reviews. I do think it did get some bonus points for being an already existing franchise.
A little bit.
7.5, I'd say. I don't know. I need to get in and play it. Like, from the beta, I know what my impressions were from the beta, and it wasn't a 9 from the beta. But the beta wasn't the full game. I need to experience the full game.
And I really don't think this is a 9 out of 10 game. Not with the problems and stuff that people are pointing out. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. If you enjoyed it, leave...
So that's interesting. So, I don't know. You guys I don't know. I need to play the full game. You guys let me know what you think. If you think that the game got sort of like a bonus added to it, like a multiplier or an additional, you know, grace to the reviews that you've seen, or do you think everything's been objective up to this point? Let me know down in the comments. And if you're curious to see more Diablo content, we will be putting out Diablo content for the foreseeable future, so you can always check out the rest of our videos. And as always, have a great day.